a mini-budget with mega repercussions. Today, we delve into Liz Truss's controversial financial plan and its seismic impact on the UK economy. Picture this: September 2022, then Chancellor Kwasi Kwarteng announces a mini-budget that included £45 billion of unfunded tax cuts. The news dropped like a bombshell, causing a stir in the financial markets worldwide. Almost immediately, the growth plan devised by Kwarteng and then Prime Minister Truss had a worse impact than anyone publicly predicted. Top officials were peppered with questions from their international counterparts. How had Britain's actions affected the Fed Fund futures curve? What would this mean for the global economy? Meanwhile, back at home, Truss was forced to reverse a corporation tax cut due to the Bank of England's decision to cease emergency purchases of government bonds. The mini-budget, which lacked details on how the £72 billion funding gap would be filled, led to growing skepticism and uncertainty. From Washington to Wall Street, the world watched as Britain's financial future teetered on the edge. The fallout was swift and severe, with both domestic and international effects. The Bank of England's decision to halt emergency purchases of government bonds sent shockwaves through the political landscape. This move, necessitated by the fiscal instability triggered by the mini-budget, resulted in a swift U-turn by the government on corporation tax cuts. The reversal, while necessary, was a bitter pill for many to swallow, further stoking the fires of controversy ignited by the mini-budget. At the heart of this backlash was the Office for Budget Responsibility, or OBR. They had prepared a forecast showing the Truss administration borrowing an additional £110 billion over 5 years. However, Downing Street refused to publish this forecast, a move that did little to quell the growing market scepticism. The mini-budget had left a gaping £72 billion funding gap. Yet there were no details on how this gap would be filled. This lack of transparency led to a wave of market skepticism. Investors, already wary of the economic repercussions of the mini-budget, were left in the dark, fostering an environment of uncertainty and distrust. All the while, a crisis was brewing in the pensions system. Pension funds, caught in the fiscal storm, were forced to sell government bonds, causing their value to decline. This, in turn, added more pressure on the already strained economy. In the face of mounting criticism, the government stood by the mini-budget, blaming global factors for the economic turmoil. However, this defense started to crumble as the pension system crisis worsened and the value of government bonds continued to plummet. The government's steadfast defense of the mini-budget, despite the evident financial chaos it had caused, began to lose credibility. As the pension system crisis grew and government bonds plummeted, the government's defense of the mini-budget began to lose credibility. The aftershocks of the mini-budget are still being felt across the UK and beyond. The impact on the economic policy of Britain was immediate and profound. It was as if a seismic wave had moved through the financial markets, shaking the very foundations of our fiscal stability. The mini-budget's audacious plan caused an upheaval, leading to a significant shift in investor behavior and institutional responses. The UK's ability to run twin deficits on trade and government borrowing was shaken to its core. This was a country that had always prided itself on its financial resilience, its ability to weather economic storms. But the tremors from the mini-budget were too powerful, causing cracks in the facade that could not be easily repaired. Major investors, once keen to invest in British infrastructure, now approached with caution. They asked more questions, demanded more assurances, and required costly currency hedges before they were willing to commit their funds. The trust, once implicit, had been eroded by the mini-budget. The political implications were equally dramatic. The term mini-budget became a toxic phrase in British politics, a byword for fiscal irresponsibility and economic mismanagement. Both the government and opposition found themselves contorting in an attempt to meet debt targets and cut back on investments, a dance that left them both off balance. Perhaps most significantly, the mini-budget was linked to rising mortgage costs, hitting ordinary people where it hurts the most, in their pockets. There were calls to strengthen the Office for Budget Responsibility, a move that underscored the depth of the crisis and the need for a more robust fiscal watchdog. The mini-budget has left a lasting mark on the UK, reshaping its economic landscape and leaving a legacy of caution and skepticism. The after-effects continue to reverberate, a stark reminder of the power of economic policy and the far-reaching consequences of financial missteps. The story of Liz Truss's mini-budget is a lesson in the power and peril of financial policy. The fiscal measures announced by Truss and Kwarteng have indeed rocked the UK, both economically and politically. The mini-budget's initial impact was more significant than anyone could have anticipated, affecting not only the financial markets, but the very foundations of Britain's fiscal responsibility. The resulting backlash was swift and severe, leading to political upheaval and a crisis in the pension system. The term mini-budget has now become a synonym for financial turmoil and political instability. This has changed the way major investors perceive the UK, requiring more scrutiny and costly currency hedges before investing in British infrastructure. The aftermath of the mini-budget continues to reverberate throughout the UK. It has influenced investor behaviour, shaped institutional responses, and has even been linked to rising mortgage costs. The fallout has undermined the UK's ability to run twin deficits on trade and government borrowing, and has shaken the country's economic stability. As we continue to feel the ripples of this financial shockwave, one thing is clear: the mini-budget has forever changed the course of Britain's economic journey. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments below.